Well, hello everybody. It's always great to be on the other side of a steak. I hope everyone can stay awake. Really, it's a pleasure to be here. Thank you, Joni, for the hospitality. Carl, just everyone in this room. We definitely couldn't do it without you all. So I'm going to try to be brief and go through slides relatively quickly, but there's just so much going on. Obviously, we have a session coming up. I always think of that, a week before, think of that line from Batman with Bane where he says, "Now's not the time for fear, that comes later." So trying to enjoy this kind of last week, but I think we have some positive news when it comes to the session. So I want to just start by grounding us in sort of the economic picture of the state. So many folks have seen this. 2024, we do economic impact studies every summer of the subsequent year. So basically in the summer of this year, we should have the economic impact numbers for 2025. For 2024, we had another record-breaking year. Our direct visitor spending, we always look at that, 8.8 billion, so that was up 200 million from the previous year. So it was huge. You can see all the jobs sustained. You can see the returning money back to the tax base. So we're obviously very excited about that. That was another record-breaking year for us. Some specifics on that, we saw increases that year in both visitor spending, but also in visitation. We've gotten questions during that time about inflation, and I think it's good to also ground this on the actual visitation itself. We did see significant increases year over year in international. Which I'm going to speak to, but that's with the Route 66 Centennial. That's been another opportunity that we've been exploring, and so I see opportunities in that market and some challenges. So that's a lot of the positive 2024 numbers. I want to kind of have a little bit of a reality check here too. So looking into 2025 was a little rough, and I'm sure folks in this room can attest to some of that. And I think looking especially at the last quarter of 2025 with the shutdown, with a lot of the sort of the geopolitical factors and things happening, we saw some softening. I think that you can see this sort of picture here about New Year's Day occupancy increased 3.4% year over year. I think we're starting to see rebounding to normal, but you look at the ADR down almost 1%. You look at the RevPAR down over 3%. I mean, these are some real, I think, numbers that we need to look at and figure out, how do we sort of calibrate ourselves going into 2020, or now that we're in 2026. Now, obviously, New Mexico's not, the only destination that's dealing with these challenges. I just wanted to kind of it may be hard to read, but long and short of this is, especially towards the end of the year, we're starting to see these declines in some of these market segments. I really want to highlight the public lands and the national parks. That's something we're really seeing with some of the changes in the park fees and some of the rhetoric and the messaging is that we're seeing that folks are less willing to travel to some of our public lands. And that's really important for New Mexico. So trying to figure out strategies to combat that. I always like to use this one because it works. So I think that we have a strategy for success. I think we've built on this strategy over years, and I'm very confident in our team. And I want to explain just some of the initiatives, the efforts that we have, and the science behind it. So many have seen this. This is the infographic that really represents what we do. We serve really two complementary functions where we're driving demand, but we're also delivering on experiences and supporting both of those aims, always researching and understanding best practices and ways to improve and sharpen the sword. So when we're talking about driving demand, what does that mean? It means that we're making a promise about New Mexico true, that you're going to have an incredible experience here, that it is an adventure steeped in culture in New Mexico. It's really cool to see this. Nearly 15 years that we've had New Mexico True in New Mexico. I mean, to have a brand that has lasted with that kind of power, and I know there's folks in this room like Tanya that when we were starting this sort of at the beginning, this wasn't easy, and it was Wasn't an easy sell, but the way that the community has gotten behind New Mexico True is inspiring, and we've seen that success. I'm going to go into some of these, but these are the activities under our Drive Demand strategy that we're engaged in. Our national marketing, our cooperative marketing, our earned media, obviously New Mexico Magazine, our New Mexico True Certified program, and our new travel trade program, which I'm very excited about. National marketing, so where are we? Our big markets right now remain the Texas, Arizona, Colorado markets, with the expansion into California, which has been really shown strong results. Initially, we went into LA. We have gone into the Bay Area over the past couple of years. If you're ever at any of those airports, you'll see those large displays. We also have, obviously, connected TV buys and other opportunities in those markets. And we really make sure if we're going to go in, we can go in strong. Currently, we have our winter campaign live. You can see some fun there at the airport. One important piece about our winter campaign that I want folks to know about is we do have a buy this year for the Winter Olympics with NBC Peacock. So we're really trying to sell New Mexico and promote New Mexico as an outdoor destination, as a winter destination. We had success with that in the past working with NBC, so we're gonna go ahead and do that again. Cooperative marketing remains strong. So as we're promoting New Mexico, the awareness of New Mexico as a destination, we are working with communities, we're working with Albuquerque, and making sure that as we're driving that awareness, we're also leading folks to consider exactly, where they want to go with the New Mexico, and selling them all the way to conversion. I think this co-op program has been a really helpful and just a really solid plan to support communities under New Mexico True. Nearly $4 million that we are spending as the state to support cooperative marketing. Earned media, Tanya mentioned a lot of those awesome wins that we've had in terms of the acknowledgments. So it's so cool to see New Mexico on television and all the accolades that we've gotten. Many of these things happen organically, but there's also just a lot of work behind the scenes. There's a lot of work talking with travel writers. There's a lot of work with fam tours and working with these groups and really showing them what the destination is about. And it's great to work with Visit Albuquerque with our team on those programs, and you can kind of see some of these results when you look at these big publications like AFAR, like Travel and Leisure. These are publications that we really have real estate in because people are starting to see the magic of New Mexico. So as we have these paid campaigns continuing to move forward, we're still really looking at telling the story of New Mexico to that audience. Everyone knows about New Mexico Magazine, but I have to brag about them. They are under the Mexico Tourism Department, oldest state publication. Last year they got Magazine of the Year. I guess they can't do that twice. I don't know. This year they're a runner-up. Probably be Magazine of the Year next year because they're that great. They have a strong team, and we're always finding opportunities, whether it's through our adventure guide or whether it's through supporting New Mexico True certified vendors through our gift guide, trying to find ways to use that magazine to promote this industry. I mentioned the certified program. Just a little more on that. We just reached now we're over 500 partners. So these are products that are made in New Mexico, sourced in New Mexico. When you're walking around the Santa Fe Plaza or you're walking around Albuquerque Old Town, you see that sticker with pride on the window, demonstrating that commitment to operating their business in New Mexico and sourcing in New Mexico. If you're going to do that, we're going to support you. And I mentioned the gift guide. There are other opportunities that we're looking at exploring to support vendors that are within that program. But proud of it. This is new, and I think this is going to be a real game changer for us moving into the next, I'd say 3 to 5 years. So over the years, we've been direct to consumer. That's been our strategy. That's been what we've done. Largely a function of budget, but also just a function of what's worked. And in doing that, one blind spot that we have had is international travel. So a way that we are engaging with international travel right now is through what's called our travel trade program. So you can see right here, this was at IPW in Chicago. we actually won an award for that booth. It was a beautiful, beautiful booth. But we worked tirelessly. Tanya was there. We had other partners there to sell New Mexico products to these tour operators and these travel agents to let them know that we're there. And now you can see kind of we have a baseline here. So Germany and UK were two of the markets we were really exploring. You can look at the tour operators overnight New Mexico offering products. So 42 in Germany, 35 in UK. So that represents about 30% of the tour operators. So we have 60% of the tour operators in those markets that we can still engage with. And then they don't know us at this point. And then you look at the amount of product offerings. So we have 330 product offerings in Germany, 327 in the UK. We can raise that number. There is so much more to do in this state. And so I feel like if we can continue to build that strategy, we can get more eyeballs, the right eyeballs on New Mexico, more products for those eyeballs to see. I think you're gonna see increased bookings and increased business and opportunity international. That's how a lot of these folks travel. This is an example of some success resulting from that. So this is real. So Holly Marquez from our team, working with partners, brought some travel writers from the UK and into Albuquerque and into New Mexico. We did a fam tour, and I'm happy to report that this tour company out of the UK now has a 5-day travel experience in New Mexico. So I think that this is something big. This is just the start, and I think as we continue to engage in this space, there's going to be huge opportunity to engage in that international market. What are we doing on the other side? So we're selling New Mexico, so how are we making sure that we're taking care of our product? So in order to do that, our development program is about making sure that we have quality amenities, attractions, and then access to those amenities and attractions. And that's been the charge of our Destination Forward program, or the charge of our tourism development program. 3 activities, primary activities to move that forward. We support events, so large events, small events around the state that have a tourism angle to them, whether it's they bring people from out of state, whether it's they sort of bring people from outside of a 50, 60 mile radius so that they're staying overnight. We want to support those events. We have a program for that. Destination Forward. We actually have a program now to support infrastructure. It's not huge. It's just under $2 million. But we can support some planning, design, feasibility studies for new construction and new projects. We can support some of the hard costs to a degree. We can support some of the equipping and furnishing of these assets. And then also our New Mexico Clean and Beautiful program under our department, which about $1 million this year deployed for cleanup campaigns and events to make New Mexico a place we're all proud of. Here's some of the numbers behind these programs. So over $500,000 supporting 42 events around the state. If you guys want to kind of get the list, please talk to me. Be happy to share that with you. We will be continuing that program, but we've had great success there. Destination Forward, as I mentioned, just under $2 million, funding 16 projects. New Mexico Clean and Beautiful, as I mentioned, $1 million. Here's some examples of just what these programs have supported. You can see the Las Cruces Chili Drop. That was a new event that we supported this year. Destination Forward, you can see some improvements that we supported to the Anderson Abruzzo Balloon Museum, and then just some work with our fine folks at Clean and Beautiful. Closing out initiatives before I get into the budget and the session itself. Here's some other big things that have happened this year I think we should be proud of. So we had the Roswell National Championship Air Race here. It can grow. It can grow significantly. Walker Airfield is huge. And I think that they're supposed to add 2 race classes this year. I wouldn't be surprised if that event doubles in size this year with all the marketing, promotion, and opportunities. But you look at just the first year in Roswell, 56,000 total attendees, 29.6 million in economic impact to Southeast New Mexico. That was not there before. So we're very, very proud of that. Ruidoso, with all the challenges that they've been dealing with, as everyone knows. They're a resilient community, they're creative, they're strong. They brought Xterra and the Ironman. They have contracts with them over the next few years. I think there's a lot of opportunity in Albuquerque to extend those trips. We're actually working with their folks now on how do we work with those itineraries. Well, 60% of the participants in Xterra are international. So I think that huge opportunities there. Many people have seen Breaking Bad Habits campaign. This is more than a commercial to us. Obviously that's the forward-facing, consumer-facing thing to us. What I'm proud of is the results. It's really formed sort of a connective tissue between the government and citizens with respect to cleanups. We've had hundreds of cleanup events that have been supported through this campaign. We've boosted the social promotion of those events to drive increased participation, which we've seen success. And there was just a recent story, millions and millions of pounds of trash that have been picked up. Obviously, this is a behavior change issue too, but I'm proud of the work that we've done on this campaign. Route 66 Attendee, I could just go on forever. But one thing I'll say is that I'm proud of the strategy and the work and the collaboration. We have been successful over 2 years in receiving $5 million from the legislature to work on this promotion. What have we done with that? We worked with Brand USA and did direct advertising in Germany and the UK. We did some travel trade activations in those areas. We had a grant program that we supported infrastructure around the entire state, new signs, public lighting. I'm sure if you've driven by Old Town, you've seen that new sign that was supported by this. Really just putting our best foot forward with infrastructure. Supporting events, all those big events that we're gonna have this year with the car shows and beyond, supporting those. And I'm proud to say we are working with essentially every, let's call them major city along Route 66. But we have productions in-house. We have them playing on meta platforms, whether it's a promotion of Laguna Pueblo or it's a promotion of Santa Rosa. We are promoting New Mexico to the country and to the world. So here we are, Route 66. Tanya, I got my shoes. I love them. Thank you. I was gonna wear them today, but at Ranchers Club, I had to wear cowboy boots. But thank you for that. And this is a big deal, guys. People have seen this story. So the Michelin Guide is currently, their judges are here in New Mexico. It's very deliberately secretive in the sense of the things that I know, but we are under contract with them, with other southwestern states, including Arizona and Nevada and Utah for a southwestern Michelin package. So I'm hoping that we can get a star or 2 or 3. We're thinking July or August is when they will be announcing those stars for Michelin. So even with sort of that bleakness, I hope you can see that there's a lot of positivity to move us into the future. And I think to end with that positivity, I'm incredibly blessed about what this slide means. It may just look like a benign little spreadsheet. Every single year, we have to fight and fight and fight as an industry to get to essentially make up the gap between what the legislature is appropriating to us or recommending and the governor. This year, they're only $2 million off. We're between 45 and 43 million all in our department. That is huge. So that means going into the session, I was joking with my team, it's kind of run the football. Let's not do anything totally crazy because we're in a really good spot. There's still opportunity though. When you see that $2 million gap, what does that mean? That's the opportunity for an expansion market. And so as we're looking into this, I'll tease some things out. We're looking at areas like Chicago as far as fly, looking at areas like Oklahoma City as it relates to drive. I think there are some opportunities to expand our presence with those additional funds. But the good news is, with each recommendation, all the programs that you just saw today are preserved. They will continue. And so I have a hearing I have actually a hearing tomorrow, and then I have a hearing with the Senate the following week. If you talk to your legislators, just tell them really, thank you. Thank you for supporting this industry over the years. Thank you for believing in New Mexico True. We're gonna fight for this new market, but I think we're really, really in a strong, strong position. So thank you to everyone in this room for your advocacy. I remember last year, Senate Finance was a little rough. The House Appropriations right before, I remember turning around and seeing so many people from the industry behind me, and I just can't thank you enough. So thank you, and I will turn it over to Mr. Weeks.
Thank you, Secretary Lansing. So, Secretary Adams. I apologize. I just am too familiar with Lansing. I don't call him Secretary Adams. It's just weird. So I want to note, though, like the good work that Secretary Adams and before him, Secretary Schreier did in getting this budget to where it is. It was huge. I mean, that was a literal decades-long effort. When I started with the industry, the tourism department was an afterthought of the administration, and now it is an agency that has a lot of respect and has done a lot of good for you all in terms of promoting the industry and bringing people to the state. So I honestly just want to give Lansing another round of applause, give his team a round of applause. Couldn't ask for a better partner with the industry than the tourism department. I'm never going to say anything nice about you again. Some challenges that we'll all face as we roll into the legislative session. I'm going to talk about policy. Lansing did a really good job talking about the executive budget and the LSC budget. The $2 million gap may not make it up. This is the first year where we're not going to see a ton of new money. The revenue projections were trimmed from like $400 million in recurring revenue to like $120 million in recurring revenue, which really is not very much money. However, there is a massive pot of one-time money, which is what Lansing's going to be going after to make that gap up. So, 30-day session is what we're rolling into. We do a 30-day session and a 60-day session here in New Mexico in alternating years. 30-day session is fiscally oriented. It's a really quick sprint of a session. However, this is our current governor's last legislative session, so I expect there to be a lot of activity. Two ways an issue can be heard during a 30-day session. It's either impactful, actually three. It's either impactful or germane to the budget. The governor puts it on the call, or the legislative body through a rules committee otherwise determines that they want to hear it. That's happened a couple times. That last one's pretty rare. Want to talk, though, about some of the major issues that we're going to face and talk a little bit about what happened last session with some of them. The politics in Santa Fe are very Democratic Party oriented, and I would say liberally oriented or progressively oriented. The Democrats control both chambers by wide margins, and the progressives almost have a majority in each one of those chambers. So we see a lot of things that aren't necessarily pro-business that end up, we have to wade through them, we have to work through the issues that they present. We haven't had anything super negative pass. Paid family medical leave is the one I'll start with. It was beat back again last year. I don't think we're going to see it this year. There's some grumblings. But what happened last year, thanks to everybody's good work across all industries, is that the speaker took the issue over, crafted another bill that the industry still didn't like. But what that did is it created a division between the House and the Senate. Because the pro tem, Mimi Stewart, this was her baby, and when the speaker took the issue over, drafted a new bill, Mimi didn't like that. And so now there's a point of friction there that I think is going to cause the bill not to get heard this session. Mimi was unwilling, or the pro tem was unwilling to hear the version that the House passed, and so it died in Senate Finance. So that one's likely not to come back this session, but you never know. It's kind of one of those Frankenstein bills. Crime, I'll touch on briefly. Major issue last session. They got a couple things done. It's going to be another major priority for the governor this year. Juvenile justice reform, they're going to come with another one of those bills. Gun enhancements, other enhancements for violent offenders or violent offenses. That's going to come back. I will circulate those to you all through the association. You can give the list of bills a look. Some will get messages, some won't. A lot will get introduced, but there's only going to be a couple that will actually move or might move because the governor's office is behind them. AI and data privacy was a new issue from last year, major issue, has an impact on this industry. There's an AI bill that would have wildly constrained the usage of AI in the state. It was defeated last year, but it's back again this year. It may get a message, we're not sure. There's a lot of stuff from the federal government in terms of threats. If states pass AI legislation, they will lose opportunities for funding. Our governor is aware of that. not necessarily afraid of the president, but certainly aware of it. So that issue may or may not come back this session. It's one that we weighed into last year though, because of its potential impacts on all the AI tools that you all are using and continuing to adopt in your day-to-day operations to improve efficiencies and make things easier. Data privacy bill was in there too. It was generally okay. Industry was pretty neutral on it. We had a pretty significant negative climate bill that the Pro Tem tried to pass last year. And what the problem is, you might say, oh, why do we care about a climate bill in the tourism sector? And the answer is because it was a carbon cap. It was a cap on all carbon economy-wide. This hotel has a carbon footprint. Building a new hotel creates a carbon footprint. It was a carbon cap that wanted to take us back to 2005 carbon output standards. If you've expanded your operations massively, even if you've reduced your carbon footprint for any one operation, if you've expanded massively, it's almost impossible to meet the 2005 standard. So we oppose that. It's back this year. That bill is going to be another one that is going to have massive potential implications on all sectors of the economy, principally oil and gas, but all carbon emitting sectors, which is every sector. Healthcare, Paul, you mentioned it. The compacts are important. Don't get me wrong, they are not that important. What is more important is med-mal. And I see Ernie nodding his head. I also have the pleasure of working for the chamber. So Ernie and I talk about these issues pretty frequently. Med-mal is a massive issue. It is leading to catastrophic access to care issues statewide. Our governor has decided to take the issue up, and she is going to issue a message. I'm looking at Lansing as though he has something to do with it, but he doesn't. But this is going to be a huge issue. It's a huge battle. The lines are drawn with the House of Medicine, as we call it, which is the medical society, which represents physicians, and then the Hospital Association and others squaring off against the trial lawyers. Trial lawyers are an incredibly powerful lobby. They have a lot of friends in the legislature. So this is going to be probably the biggest battle of the session. I would encourage all of you to wade into these waters because access to care impacts you, it impacts your families, it impacts your employees, and it impacts your guests. So reforming our medical malpractice system has to be the priority in the healthcare realm. Even though the compacts are important, reforming them out is more important. If you're interested, I certainly can get you it's a business leader's toolkit that kind of walks you through what advocacy looks like, because I represent the Hospital Association, so I'm happy to provide that. Not a plug, but it really is something that y'all really should be aware of and care about, and it's going to come up this session. And quite frankly, the governor has said if it doesn't pass this session, she will call as many special sessions as are necessary to pass med-mal reform. So she's very serious about this issue. Let's see. Just a couple tourism initiatives. The tax credit's going to be back, but actually I've been talking to a few folks in the industry, and we've been talking about making some changes to the Opportunity Enterprise Fund, right? A tax credit's fine. A tax credit would be beneficial, but if we make changes to the state's Opportunity Enterprise Fund, which is a fund that allows private business owners to get essentially a loan from the state at very favorable rate and under very favorable terms. If we opened that up to the hospitality sector, it could actually lead to probably additional funding for you all to do more significant renovations and expansions of your operations than you're currently able to do, well beyond what a tax credit would do. So that's something that's in formation. It may get introduced this session, but it's really something more to look at for the horizon of issues that we're going to be facing over the next 3 to 4 years. Getting that reform in place would be huge. So I'm going to wrap it up. Happy to answer any questions if y'all have any.
Hotel renovation credit. I know hotel renovation credit's been presented a few times
over the last few years. Any movement on that in terms of, I don't know much of the details, but.
Yeah, I mean, we've tried it, and it was an idea that Secretary Schreier came up with. We were kind of working with her. The legislature's moved massively away from credits. They really don't like them anymore. They don't love the tax credit concept. And it's also limited in its scope, and so that's why I'm thinking maybe we shift towards amending the Opportunity Investment Fund because it's more broadly available. It has the same basic purpose. I mean, you end up getting a loan, but it's a loan under favorable terms. The credit, we'll run it again. Art De La Cruz is going to be our sponsor. He's committed to it. I just don't know that we're going to be super successful. There's very little capacity this year. It's the first year in about 8 years. There's very little capacity for a tax package. And I think the capacity for a tax package is going to go towards an R&D tech research credit, and a fusion to do like data centers and otherwise tax credits. So I think the capacity won't really be there this session, and I think that there's a better option in amending the Opportunity Investment Fund.
A couple of questions, very quickly. I can probably speak loud enough. One is, anything on the gross receipts tax, the tax pyramiding issue? And then secondly, for Lansing, if the budget is presented, LFC goes along with what their program is, so it's minus $2 million. Is there a chance that it could go below that, or you think they'll just go with the LFC budget? And then on the tax pyramiding, which is a big business opportunity for also the medical field.
I can start maybe just on the budget. So there's always that risk. I mean, there is, and I think that's why my message is to express your thank yous and your sincere appreciation, and to tell your stories about how this has helped them, and to not take for granted the value of marketing. I think that is the big deal here, is that this isn't something where you can go, all right, we did it, now we can back off. It's not the way this works. So we will be watching that. Typically the process is, tomorrow I'm going to go in front of HAFC, they're going to take the lower recommendation, so they'll take the one that's $2 million less, and then I will work through that process with members in what's called the catchment cleanup process to try to get some additional dollars there in the House, and then once it passes through to the Senate, see where I'm at, and then try to work with the Senate Finance Committee. But there's a lot of support there. There's always that risk though, so I don't want to, definitely discount that. But again, I think we've demonstrated that we're a great place to invest, the dollars of the state. So I'm optimistic.
I mean, I echo that. I mean, it could go lower. I don't think it will. I think you'll at least get 16, and then the rest of the stuff will remain flat. And I think you could very well get to 18. In terms of the tax pyramiding issue, I mean, we have a problem in that we have GRT, gross receipts tax, which is a hybrid sales service tax. The only way we're going to totally eliminate pyramiding is if we get rid of GRT altogether and convert it to a sales tax. I don't see that happening. They're constantly reforming it, saying like, well, we exempt manufacturing so that manufacturing doesn't get taxed, and then you get taxed for the direct sale. I don't think you can fully eliminate pyramiding, and I think that if you're really going to get rid of pyramiding, you have to totally reform the tax code and make New Mexico's tax code make some sense. And it is something that impedes business investment here. That's not going to get tackled this session. It's too big an issue. Somebody ask something fun. Come on. Test us. Anybody? Crime? Going once?
I heard the Giants hired Harbaugh.
I hate the Giants, but
As a Patriots fan, I'll always remember that catch. So hope it doesn't work out.
How about those logos, right? Is that unbelievable? They're doing great.
They are doing great. They are doing great.
way better than the Aggies, right?
Well, with that, I just thank you guys, honestly, sincerely. Thank you, Jason. It's a jungle when we get into the session, but to be able to come at it and approach it from a position of success and strength certainly helps, and this industry is responsible for that. So,
Thank you all.
thank you all.